Rafale is a twin-engine medium multi-role combat aircraft manufactured by French company Dassault Aviation. Dassault claims Rafale has Omnirole capability to perform several actions at the same time, such as firing air-to-air missiles at a very low altitude, air-to-ground and interceptions during the same sortie. Aircraft is fitted with an onboard oxygen generation system which suppresses the need for liquid oxygen refilling or ground support for oxygen production. It can carry out a wide range of missions which include air defense or air superiority, reconnaissance, close air support dynamic targeting, air-to-ground precision strike or interdiction, anti-ship attacks, nuclear deterrence and body-to-body refueling. Induction of Rafale fighter jet will be a game changer for India in regional geopolitics of South Asia insofar as Pakistan and China are concerned. The first batch of 5 Rafale fighter aircrafts on Monday took off from France for India, nearly 4 years after the two countries inked an intergovernmental agreement to supply 36 of multi-role jets to the Indian Air Force under a 59,000 crore rupees deal. The aircraft flew out from the Merignac airbase in French port city of Bordeaux and will cover a distance of nearly 7,000 kilometers with air-to-air refueling and a single stop in the United Arab Emirates before arriving at Ambala airbase on Wednesday. Hello and welcome to SSB Crack Exams. I am Hemant and now let us understand about the strategic and important news and what all are the specialities that Rafale possesses. If in case you are aspiring to fly aircrafts like these by joining the Indian Air Force as a flying officer, SSB Crack Exams is offering you a very detailed and consolidated course on CDS and AFCAT examinations. I highly recommend you to download our Android app from Google Play Store and subscribe to our courses where you get immense study material, hundreds of lectures and strategic content in your head. So let us begin with what all things are we going to discuss in this particular session. I will be discussing with you a little bit detail about what is the MMRCA competition, also known as the medium multi-role combat aircrafts competition, and then we will discuss a little bit in detail about the specialities of the Dassault Rafale and about this particular squadron in which the Rafale is going to be inducted, and that is the number 17 squadron of Indian Air Force. So we will also understand about number 17 squadron, and in the end I will also discuss with you about what all are the most important areas wherein which the Rafale can be inducted and the Rafale can be used. So what is actually the MMRCA competition? MMRCA is then abbreviation for the medium multi-role combat aircraft, and this was a competition in India. It was arranged, it was allocated by the Ministry of Defence under the Government of India, and it was a MRCA tender. It was a competition to supply 126 multi-role combat aircrafts to the Indian Air Force. This was done in the year of 2014, and Defence Ministry has allocated around 55,000 crore rupees for this particular competition. Now what is this competition about? The Defence Ministry has allocated around 55,000 crore rupees, and it has called for the bids from various important defense industries all over the world, and various important companies have participated in this competition, and only one will be selected, and that particular aircraft will be inducted into the Indian Air Force. So this was done, and 2008 prices for the purchase of these aircrafts, making it India's single largest defense deal. Understanding? So this is the largest defense deal India has ever made. So in this particular competition, 6 aircrafts have contested from 6 important companies, and all of those 6 most important aircrafts include the Boeing FA-18EF Super Hornet, the Dassault Rafale, the Eurofighter Typhoon, the Lockheed Martin F-16 Fighting Falcon, the Mikoyan MiG-35 from Russia, and the Saab JS-39 Gripen. All of these 6 are those important aircrafts that have contested in the MMRCA competition, and from all of these aircrafts, only 2 have been shortlisted by the authorities and as per the budgetary and the multidisciplinary norms. So among all of them, what are those 2 aircrafts that were shortlisted? They were the Dassault Rafale and the Eurofighter Typhoon. While the whole world was thinking, even all of the most important Indian newspapers were also thinking that Eurofighter Typhoon will be selected for the MMRCA competition. In a very new and in a very important twist to this particular news, the Dassault Rafale has won the MMRCA competition. Dassault Rafale is a French twin-engine canard delta wing multi-role fighter aircraft which is designed and built by the Dassault Aviation. Equipped with a wide range of weapons, the Rafale is intended to perform air supremacy, interdiction, aerial reconnaissance, ground support, in-depth strike, anti-ship strike and nuclear deterrence missions. The Rafale refer to this particular aircraft as an Omnirole aircraft. So this is a very important aircraft for us to know. So what happened later? Unfortunately, there were a lot of arguments in the Parliament of India regarding this, and many allegations were thrown on this particular MMRCA deal, and we also have heard a little bit about the Rafale controversy. So regarding that, on 13th of April 2015, the then Defence Minister at that particular time, Shri Manohar Parrikar ji, he made an announcement in the Parliament that the MMRCA tender is effectively dead on 13th of April 2015, and India officially withdrew the 126 aircraft MMRCA tender on 30th of July 2015. So unfortunately, everything was going well and good, everything was going fine, but because of the problems that arose, India had to stop this particular most important agreement. So what happened later? Now there was an intervention of Narendra Modi. When Narendra Modi went to France regarding most important bilateral meetings there, he met with the then French president. At that time was Francois Hollande, and he met the French president, and during his visit he interacted with the French president, and he said that India will purchase 36 Rafales from the French Dassault Aviation company. So this contract was finalized, and all the 36 aircraft will arrive in India in flying condition. This is what they discussed, and this is what was signed between the two governments of the France and India. Understanding? So out of these 36, as per the agreement, 30 will be fighter aircrafts and 6 will be the trainers. Please remember, out of all of the 36 aircrafts, 30 will be fighter aircrafts and 6 will be the trainer aircrafts. In the meantime, the Francois Hollande government was brought down, and a new president was elected to the French parliament, and that person was Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron also gave a green signal to this particular deal that was made between France and India, and as agreed upon the terms in April 2015, the total deal was about around $8 billion for all of these 36 aircraft, costing $200 million for each Rafale aircraft. And all of this are including with the offset requirement of 30% of the deal's value for France to reinvest in India's defense sector and create infrastructure in India for the Rafale to operate. Please remember, among all of this particular cost that is being kept by the India, the 30% of the main cost of the deal's value is for the France. The France has to reinvest in India's defense sector, and it should also create infrastructure in India for this Rafale to operate. Understanding? We simply cannot just take Rafale aircraft, we also should have the infrastructure so that the Rafale aircraft will operate as clear and as better in a detailed way. So the current French president Emmanuel Macron and the current Indian ambassador to France Jawed Ashraf are now expediting this deal very, very carefully. Understanding? So now going on about the naval variant about this aircraft, there was also a talk regarding the naval variant. As of now, we are inducting these 36 aircrafts into the Indian Air Force only, but there was a talk with the Indian Navy also. In January of 2016, Indian government directed Indian Navy to undertake detailed briefings with Dassault regarding the Rafale in a potential start to procurement of the naval version for its aircraft carriers. Please remember, all of these versions regarding the Indian Navy are being taken only for the case of aircraft carriers, and the government wants commonalities between logistics and spares for fighters with the Navy and Air Force, which could lead to buy 54 naval fighters in the future. Understanding? So now we will understand in detail about what are the specialities of the design specifications of the Dassault Rafale. If you have already gone through the fighter aircrafts of India video that is already done by SSB crack exams, I am sure that you are pretty clear about the important characteristics, the design characteristics of the Dassault Rafale. So Dassault Rafale has a turbofan engine. Okay, that you have to remember. It is a NECMA turbofan engine, and it has two NECMA turbofan engines, and it has an inlet which is of the S shape. You can see the inlet is a very special one, and the shape of this particular inlet is made in such a way that it can carry and it can have a very potential safety from all the threats, and this is also a sort of deterrence. Understanding? Now, what sort of deterrence is this? Deterrence means having a sort of defense from some particular threats. Now, there are some threats from the other enemy countries' missiles that we have to always remember. So in that way, we have to always make sure that our aircrafts are all stealth provided. Okay, now what is stealth? Stealth is that we should have those particular features so that this aircraft is as less visible. That means our aircraft should be less visible, our aircraft should produce less amount of noise, our aircraft should have a significantly less amount of heat so that other fighter missiles and other kind of intercepting missiles cannot kind of locate where our Rafale aircraft is. So in that particular way, this particular shape, this particular inlet of the engine will provide that it will enemy missile locate lesser or none of the heat signature produced by the engines of the Rafale. Rafale aircraft has delta wings. As you can see, this is a delta wing signature, and also it has canards. These small particular wings that are there in front of the larger delta wings are known as canards. The canards of Rafale are movable. That means the whole canard body is movable up and down. Okay, and the canards are located a little bit slightly up. Understanding, if you draw a line which is parallel to the lower wings, and if you draw a line which is parallel to the upper canards, both of them are almost parallel to each other and they have a little bit of distance between them. That means the canards are located a little bit higher. Understanding, the main reason of this can also be that it should always produce a clear passage of air for the engines that are located down of the important delta wing. Okay, so now let us understand about various other features of the Dassault Rafale. Dassault Rafale is, as I told you, it is a delta wing with an active close coupled canard. Understanding, that means it is an active close coupled canard to maximize the maneuverability, and the G limits of this particular aircraft are extreme, that it can go to minus 3.6 G to 9 G. Now, what is actually the G limit? Most of the people, also in the previous sections, I have seen that most of the students are asking what is actually a G limit. For example, now if you're staying in the generic atmosphere and if you're staying in the earth in a normal way and if you're standing, you will have a plus 1 G of weight that is acting on you. But if in case you are in an aircraft, there will be a change in shift of your weight because of the apparent weight, and because of the apparent weight that is produced by the maneuvers of the aircraft, your G might increase or it might decrease. So in that particular way, your weight can go and it can get influenced by about minus 3.6 G, and it might also get increased to about 9 G. That means if you are in a state of 9 G, that means you are experiencing a 9 times weight of by yourself. So Dassault Rafale has these extreme G limits that can clearly indicate that this aircraft is extremely stealthy and it is extremely strong and it can carry a large number of maneuvers. Also, there is an interesting point that we have to understand, that Rafale is an aerodynamically unstable aircraft. Understanding, so it is aerodynamically unstable, but what happens is it uses the digital fly-by-wire flight controls to artificially enforce and maintain stability. Understanding, so Dassault Rafale is this particular body of Dassault Rafale is an aerodynamically unstable aircraft. But what does it do? It utilizes the digital fly-by-wire control systems. What does it mean by fly-by-wire? That means all of the avionic systems are by the electronic systems. Understanding, each and every system that is included in this particular aircraft is electronic systems. All of these artificially enforce and they will maintain the stability of the aircraft in the air. Understanding, also an additional point that we have to understand, that 70% of Rafale surface area is composite. Understanding, and Rafale's visibility to threats are all classified. Nobody knows about the visibility details regarding the Rafale. While going through by understanding about the avionic systems, that Rafale carries core avionic systems and it can employ an integrated modular avionics, also known as the IMA. Now the name of the integrated modular avionics that is there in the Dassault Rafale, it is the MDPU, also known as the modular data processing unit. Now the most important thing that you have to understand is that MDPU is a complete combination of the flight management system, also known as the FMS, and it is also the combination of the data fusion, that means the data fusion systems, also the fire control systems, okay, and even the man-machine interface also. So MDPU, that means the modular data processing unit, will be a combination of all of the flight management systems, the data fusion systems, the fire control systems, and all of the other man-machine interfaces. Generally, in case of other transport and a very low-level previous generation fighter aircrafts, all of these particular 3 different systems are located in 3 different separate important units, but in this particular aircraft, all of these are integrated all together and they are kept together in the modular data processing unit, and this is an integrated modular avionic system. Okay, now the most important thing that you have to understand regarding here is that the Rafale's glass cockpit was designed around the principle of data fusion. A central computer selects and prioritizes information to display to pilots for a simpler command and control. The seat is inclined rearwards at an angle of 29 degrees to improve G-force tolerance during maneuvering and to provide a less restricted external pilot view. An intelligent flight suit worn by the pilot is automatically controlled by the aircraft to counteract in response to the calculated G-forces. For displaying information gathered from a range of sensors across the aircraft, the cockpit features a wide-range holographic head-up display system, two head-down flat panel color multifunction displays, as well as a central collimated display. These displays have been strategically placed to minimize pilot distraction from external environment. In the area of life support, the Rafale is fitted with Martin Baker Mark 16F00 ejection seat, capable of operation at 0 speed and 0 altitude. An onboard oxygen generating system developed by Air Liquide eliminates the need to carry bulky oxygen canisters. Now let us understand about the armament that Dassault Rafale can carry. As of now, we have a little information regarding the different sort of missiles that Rafale can carry. They include the Scalp EG cruise missiles. These that are here, these are known as the Scalp EG cruise missiles. And then we have the AASM Hammer air to surface missiles. All of these that are located here, these are the Hammer air to surface missiles. And we also have AM-39 Exocet sea skimming missiles, and we also have the MBDA Meteor beyond visual range missiles. So MBDA Meteor beyond visual range missiles are a very strategic missiles that we have to consider, and these missiles are a very important one. A very detailed analysis is also given regarding this particular missiles in the PDF section that is provided through our Android app. Now let us understand about the engines that I already discussed with you regarding this. The Rafale is fitted with two NECMA M88 engines. Both of these engines are the turbofan engines. Please remember, both of these are turbofan engines, and these are capable of providing up to 50 kilonewtons. That means 11,000 pound force of dry thrust. That means they can produce a thrust without afterburners which will be of around 50 kilonewtons, and with afterburners it would be of around 75 kilonewtons. That means it would be around 17,000 pound force. And these engines enable the Rafale to super cruise while carrying 4 missions and 1 drop tank. What is the meaning of super cruise? Super cruise means cruising in a altitude with the supersonic speeds. Okay, cruising at an altitude in supersonic speeds. So what do you mean by cruising at an altitude in supersonic speeds? Being in supersonic speeds means having a Mach which is greater than 1. And if you are at an altitude and if you are continuously moving forward with this particular Mach number, and if you're cruising at that altitude, then that particular maneuver is known as a super cruising maneuver, and these engines will enable the aircraft to super cruise even while carrying 4 missiles, and it can also carry 1 drop tank while carrying that particular maneuver. Why does India really need this particular Rafale aircraft? If we go through this aircraft is a multi-role combat fighter. I'm reiterating the same things again. This can be used for ground support, in-depth strike, anti-ship strike. This is capable of carrying small nuclear weapons. If we go through the important characteristics, the design characteristics and the performance characteristics, they include that this aircraft has a maximum weight of around 24,500 kilograms. Obviously, as I told you, this is manufactured by the Dassault Aviation. The load carrying capacity is around 9,500 kgs. As per the performance characteristics, the Dassault Rafale has a range of around 3,700 kilometers, and this aircraft is equipped with precision guided air-to-air missiles, air-to-ground missiles, a 30 mm geared gun, and other advanced systems. Now let us understand and reiterate about the news that why we are discussing about the Dassault Rafale in a very detailed way. As I told you that as per the new updates, among these 36 aircrafts, 10 aircrafts are already delivered to Indian Air Force, where 5 are in France for training missions and 5 are now arriving tomorrow to the Ambala airbase. The first batch of the 5 Rafale fighter aircrafts, among those 5, 3 are single-seater aircrafts and 2 are twin-seater aircrafts. They are arriving tomorrow, and they started their journey on Monday, and they took off from France nearly 4 years after the two countries inked an IGA to supply 36 of these multi-role jets to the Indian Air Force under the 59,000 crore rupee deal. Also to get in detail that these aircrafts have already flown out from Merignac airbase in French port city of Bordeaux, and they will cover around 7,000 kilometers with air-to-air refueling in between. Air-to-air refueling is provided by the French Air Force only, and they will have a one particular single stop in the United Arab Emirates at the Al Dhafra airbase before arriving to Ambala airbase tomorrow. This is the important route that is being taken up by these 5 important Rafale aircraft. They started their journey from Merignac airbase, which is there in the Bordeaux city of France, and they started coming all the way towards the Al Dhafra airbase in UAE. And at UAE, they will take a little bit of rest, and again from that particular airbase, they will start their journey towards the Ambala airbase of our country, India. Why do we have to, these particular aircrafts have to come only towards the Ambala airbase? Now, regarding that, we have to understand about the Ambala airbase. Before going through the Ambala airbase, you should also have a detailed analysis that all of these Rafale aircrafts are going to be administered, monitored, and they are all the responsibility of the number 17 Squadron of the Indian Air Force. This particular squadron has its shelter at Ambala airbase. Understanding, Ambala airbase is located at a very strategic location if you see it here, and this airbase is just of around 220 kilometers from the Ratcliffe line. Currently, this base has 2 squadrons of Jaguar combat aircraft, and it has 1 squadron of MiG-21 Bison, and now it will be soon inducted from tomorrow with 1 more extra squadron of the Dassault Rafales. Marshal of the Indian Air Force Arjun Singh was the first commander of this particular airbase in the independent India. So this is an important point and a very important strategic general knowledge update that you can have. Going on with the detailed analysis and a few brief analysis of the number 17 squadron. Number 17 squadron carries its nickname as Golden Arrows, and they have their motto as Udayam Ajastram, which means arise ever. Understanding? So this air squadron comes under the Ambala Air Force Station, which comes under the Western Air Command's jurisdiction. This squadron was disbanded in the year of 2016, but it was resurrected in Ambala on 11th of September 2019 with Dassault Rafales. It was formed on 1st of October 1951, very long back, and it initially flew Harvard 2B aircrafts, and it moved towards the capital, and it moved towards the Delhi at Ambala in the bid of securing the capital, national capital territory during the 1965 Indo-Pakistani War. This airbase, this particular squadron was awarded the President's Standard on 8th of November 1988 at the Palam Air Force Station. Now we have to also understand that the Chief of Air Staff Rakesh Kumar Singh Bhaduria sir has said that the combination of both Rafale and Sukhoi is a very deadly one. As per his words, he says that once the Su-30 MKI and the Rafale start operating together, it will be a potent combination against our adversaries, be it Pakistan or anybody else. It will be a potent capability. Any adversary would be worried about such a combination. He said, and he was the main person, he was one of the main chief negotiators during this particular important deal with the French government, and it was because of RK's Bhaduria sir that all of these 5 aircrafts that are coming to our country, they have their tail numbers as RB001 and RB002, RB003 to RB005. Understanding, all of these 5 aircrafts are named on his name, where RB refers to as RK's Bhaduria. So he was the then Vice Chief of Air Staff. At that time, he said these words during the Garuda 6 exercise, and is now the Chief of Air Staff, and all of these aircrafts are going to be commissioned into the Indian Air Force under his regime, and this is a very beautiful moment for us to consider. Now let us understand about the basic differences between both of the structural differences and the performance differences between the Rafale and Sukhoi aircrafts. If you see, this is the Rafale aircraft and this is the Sukhoi aircrafts, and it is clearly visible that Rafale is shorter in case of the geometry when compared to Sukhoi, and both of them have significantly preferable top speeds. The top speed of Rafale is of around 2223 km per hour. That means it has a Mach number of around 1.8, whereas it is the 2120 km per hour, a little bit lesser Mach number. And coming about the ranges of both of the aircrafts, Rafale has a little bit higher range when compared to Sukhoi. The range of Rafale is 3700 kilometers and the range of Sukhoi is the 3000 kilometers. That means Rafale has an upper hand of around 700 kilometers of range when compared to Sukhoi aircrafts, even though it is smaller in case of its size. Well, compared to the overall weight of both the aircrafts, I am discussing about the empty weight of both Rafale and Sukhoi. The weight of Rafale is of around 9,979 kilograms in case of Rafale, and in case of Sukhoi it is extremely bigger when compared to Rafale, and that is around 18,400 kilograms. If you can remember the fighter aircraft video that is done by SSB crack exams, it is very much clear, and that you will be understanding that Sukhoi is the largest and the heaviest fighter aircraft that Indian Air Force has until now. So adding up towards the Sukhoi, if we have also Rafale, and both of the aircrafts are air dominance fighters, and both the aircrafts can possess a lot of maneuverable features, and that makes the combination of both Rafale and Sukhoi a deadly combination. This particular aircraft is improving our air superiority, and as per the official sources, these Rafale jets are likely to be deployed in the Ladakh sector as part of IAF's efforts to enhance its operational capabilities along line of actual control with China in view of the Bordeaux with that particular country. Now, since we have hostile disputes between our country and China, because there are a lot of territorial disputes that are going on, our eye is on the LAC, and all of these aircraft will be focusing on that particular LAC issue. Also, that we have to have a very bit brief understanding, and I reiterate that Rafale is intended to perform all sorts of important roles. Now, what does it do at the Ladakh border? It will do all sort of air supremacy missions, interdictions, aerial reconnaissance, the ground support, in-depth strikes, anti-ship strikes, nuclear deterrence, and all sort of other missions as said by the Dassault Aviation as an Omnirole aircraft. In a statement, the Indian Embassy said Indian Air Force pilots and supporting personnel have been provided full training on the aircraft and weapon systems by Dassault. Further batches of IAF personnel will continue the training over the next 9 months. Besides the missile systems, the Rafale jets will come with various India-specific modifications, including Israeli helmet-mounted displays, radar warning receivers, low-band jammers, 10-hour flight data recording, infrared search and tracking systems, among others. Indian Air Force has already completed preparations, including readying required infrastructure and training of pilots to welcome all of these fighter aircrafts. The second squadron of Rafale will be stationed at Hasimara base in West Bengal. IAF spent around 400 crore rupee to develop required infrastructure like shelters, hangars and maintenance facilities at both of these bases. With the changing scenarios, Indian armed forces are gearing up for more potential weaponry and in securing the territories. We are always proud of our forces for protecting us all the life. For more knowledgeable content and brainstorming sessions, subscribe to our channel and download our app from Google Play Store. I will see you again in the next lecture. Until then, stay safe, keep smiling, eat healthy food, be motivated, and Jai Hind.